Greetings. Hi. Hello. Sorry if you hear any background noise, which you theoretically shouldn't. Um, as you can tell, I am not in my office, if you would. So, on today's video, wait, before I start, holy shit. Hi. Hello. Welcome. And/or welcome back. I'm Fire Lotus the Witch, and welcome to my page. So, my last video, one of the last videos that I posted, I got a question on grounding. What do you do with said leftover energy when doing rituals or spell work? Now, primarily more ritualistic, depending on how you do your spell work. Obviously, there are certain spells that you have to conjure or build up a excess amount of energy to be able to properly send it off. What do you do with all of that excess energy? Or in general, what do you do if life just gets too much? So here are some grounding techniques and some techniques to ground that excess amount of energy as well. So the first one, now take in mind, I would normally say visualization, but I'm going to try to explain it without necessarily, I'm being cautious of how I describe things. So, the first technique that I taught is you are to sit down, bend your knees and put your feet in front of you, and then put your hands beside you, and you're going to sense the earth around you and sense that their roots are coming up and wrapping around you and slowly anchoring you down. Okay? And with this, you should actually get a physical feeling. A lot of the times when I do this, or when I do certain types of meditation, which I do not do often, or the typical stance of meditation, sometimes a lot of the times it'll be like tingling, or your body feels very, very heavy, or the complete opposite. Typically, though, with grounding, in my experience, you're going to feel a heaviness to you. If you've ever worked with black tourmaline, black tourmaline also has that same feeling of grounding. Now, other things that you can do is hug a tree. Literally hug a tree. As you're hugging it, now I typically, when I work with any tree, I will knock on it 3 times fairly lightly to kind of wake up the spirit of the tree. But connect to it, so you can literally just reach your hand out and actually connect to the tree, and you will feel that connection when it's connected. And depending on what type of tree it is depending on the intense or non-intense feeling that you may feel. To oaks, a lot of the time, century oaks, you're going to feel a rush. It's almost going to be like you kind of got your breath taken away. And or if you're an energy or coffee drinker, when you drink a little bit too much too fast, and then all of a sudden it slightly all hits you all at once, kind of like that. Now, while you're doing this, whatever grounding technique, another one that is, I love doing it, especially like if you live in an apartment, or somewhere where you don't necessarily always have access just to be able to go outside and do whatever you want. You can also get a pot, like a planting pot or just a regular pot, and keep some dirt in your house. That way, if at any point in time you need to ground, but say the weather permits, you can't go outside, then all you got to do is take your shoes off barefoot and touch the dirt, and basically center yourself. Now, another way that you can center yourself while grounding is to imagine you're wearing a witch's hat. You have the circle, and then you have the cone, which represents the cone of power, and then it's centering it because it's in the center of that circle. Therefore, using the actual image of the witch's hat, or a actual witch's hat, can be able to help you center that energy and ground it. I'm trying to think of some other techniques as well. So another thing that you can also do, it's when you start to ground, specifically when connecting with the earth and or a tree or a plant, you can also say you have unwanted emotions. Now, when I say this, take in mind, it doesn't necessarily always actually just take it away, but it helps relieve that buildup of it. You can send emotions or certain types of energy into that tree to let it be recycled. Same with grounding. Another grounding technique, a simple one, is walking barefooted. While you're walking barefooted, again, try to just connect to the earth. Try to feel the gravity of earth holding you down. That's exactly how it feels. Also, a couple of times when you do this, depending on where you're at, what you're doing, you know that feeling when you were younger, specifically when you were younger, and your parents took the heel a little bit too fast, and it kind of made you feel like you were on a roller coaster. You can feel that too. Um, there are also other crystals that you can carry with you and connect to that will also help with grounding. Just know any of those stones are crystals, because we know crystals have multiple different types of reactions or energies that you can connect to. If any of those also absorb and neutralize negative energy, and or they absorb it and kind of sling it back to you after it's been like changed from to negative positive, be careful wearing it too long or overexposure to it, because it can get to the point where it feels like it almost absorbed too much and it needs a cleansing or a grounding. I know not all witches believe that way, but I do. I've had some oh shit moments with them. And then if you really wanted to, there are certain crystals that you can get, and the program would be to store specific type of emotions. So say you just had a conflict with somebody and you're really fucking, your head is steaming. Carry that crystal with you and put all that energy into there, and then you can actually tap back into that and use that in spell work. Yes, so store some emotions or heightened energy in crystals and then use that for spell work. So, I'm trying to think if there are any other techniques that I know. A lot of the times when I ground, I do like to physically actually like barefoot and stick my feet in the actual dirt, like submerge them in the dirt. And then if you're a gardener, you can ground constantly. Also, talk to your land spirits, all right? Whether you're in a park, a city, it doesn't matter. It's all going to have their spirits, and they're also going to have a different personality. Mushrooms are going to be your friend too, because what mycelium? You want to fall down, or you want some homework to do? Some Lotus homework? Look up how mycelium connects root systems and so forth and so on. Connecting and building a relationship with one patch of mushrooms, you're literally introducing yourself into like almost everything around you that's connected with roots. It's amazing. Literally we are living and breathing, and mycelium is also how trees will actually connect to one another. So say one tree gets sick, the other trees around them will realize that, and depending on if the other trees, the community of trees, will actually like say heal it or let's leave it alone. The mycelium helps send nutrients and water throughout the root system, and it uses it to where, say there's a tree that's severely infected, it can actually fully cut it off from all the other trees and basically just start taking nutrients from it. You will literally fall down a rabbit hole of research on that one. It blew my mind, but it also shows that we're connected in ways, because we all know about the Fibonacci sequence. I probably said that wrong. The golden ratio. It's things, it's patterns that repeat on almost every single level. We are all connected, because that also repeats to a degree in us. So yeah, there's some grounding techniques, and also not everybody will need to ground constantly. But specifically, one of the reasons it's good is because say you do a ritual. What I mean by ritual is fully casting a circle, calling upon some type of energy, whether that's the watchtowers, the guardians, animals, it doesn't matter. And then actually building up that energy. So if you're going to create a circle or whatever you're creating or standing in, some of the ideas of it is to build energy by the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path, another thing you can do some research on. The Witch's Eightfold Path is 8 different ways to alter your state of conscious. Most of that is through like dancing, breathing, drumming, music, so forth and so on. And on a mundane level, especially with the breathing exercises, you're basically controlling the amount of oxygen that goes to your brain by channeling your breathing. So therefore, you're altering your state of conscious. So see, even with witchcraft, there's a lot of science in it. They go hand in hand. But to a degree, there is some stuff that's in witchcraft that's just completely unverified. But they're gaining. They're starting to crack some codes, especially with consciousness. But when you do that, depending on what you're doing and depending on how much energy you've raised, our bodies are just like a battery. It has a limit. Whether that is building, connecting, and like pushing out energy that you've built up, and then it's also coming from your own body, but also with storing it. So if you absorb too much energy, if you haven't checked out the video Magical Experiences, I believe it's in part 1 that I made, you kind of get an example of what happens if you try to take in a divine being, for an example, before your physical body is ready. You're going to have actual repercussions from it. The same is with if you hold on to that energy too much. You can get headaches, you can get nauseous, you can get very airy. There have been some incidences in covens and rituals that involved a high amount of energy where people literally get nosebleeds. I've seen people, I've personally done it, where you completely black the fuck out. It literally sends your entire electrical system the way that I view it is it overloads your system. And what happens if a computer's overloaded? What happens if a car, a motor, a battery is overloaded? It completely shuts down or explodes. Hopefully you don't explode. Um so yeah, be cautious. And you'll know if you build too much energy and things like that. And as I expand my YouTubing journey, I'm going to go over a little bit more topics and hopefully eventually get organized. I'm working on a list right now um, of ideas for videos, and I'm putting together in my head how to put those into like playlists and series and everything. But as always, if you've made it to the end of this video, what is your favorite symbol and or what is your favorite color? Oh, more importantly, what's your favorite shade? Anyways, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment. What do you think?